Weight loss also becomes very difficult for a person who's in hypoarousal. You might be doing exercises, not a gram drops. Why? Because the brain does not believe that you're out of threat. It is saying, no, hold on, we don't know till when, hold on. Unless you believe that you can manage this, it does not give it an opportunity to drop the weight.
Very personal story.
Yeah.
I might tear up, I don't know. Last year, I had been to Philippines. I went for a scuba dive session. It's a 40-minute session. After 25 minutes, I don't know what happened. I was looking up, I could see the sunlight coming onto the surface area of the water. My logical brain has switched off and I have taken the device, the mouthpiece, I have knocked it off. And I am like 25 feet under the water.
I have this thing of saying these are people, hypoarousal people. I call them as the real investors of Swiggy and Zomato. Because after the night dinner is over, no, these people will now say, I want to eat food. Let's order something. Let's eat something. Because the only thing that they have access to in that time is their digestive system. They have a lot of saliva production in their mouth. So till I get that Zomato order coming, I panic like, give me food. Then I'll feel like, this is so nice. This is so much better. Endorphin is basically what we feel, what we have a lot of release when we consistently are going through something which is tough physically. Like let's say I'm running a marathon. In between, I'll definitely feel very tired. And then my body kicks in saying, I'll have to support her. So through that pain, it releases endorphin of saying you have the capacity to pursue it and to complete it.
We are not thinking machines, we are feeling machines. Have you heard this? Now that you've heard this, how are you feeling? Why are we feeling? What emotions are we feeling? Now, wait, where is this conversation headed? Clearly, today on Just Curious, I have the true honor of welcoming Krupalini again on my English podcast, Just Curious, who is an emotional intelligence specialist, TEDx speaker, somebody who has been a consultant for United Nations, trained leaders across the world, the tune of 68,000 in just 5 years.
Yes.
That's just amazing, Krupalini. Giving a brief introduction to the body of work that you stand by. Firstly, how are you? Welcome to Just Curious.
I'm so happy to be here, Rashmi. Thank you so much. And namaste to everybody. I know that the previous conversation was a long one and there was a lot that we spoke. I'm looking forward to sharing that knowledge with everybody today.
Same here. Just to tell our audience, this is basically a conversation that is stemming from the past because Just Curious is a Kannada podcast and the journey started there and people interested in going back to that podcast can always go back and then check the link as well. So, firstly, Krupalini, what has changed? It's been a year and how are we?
A lot of things have changed. Especially, I've become more closer to the world today in multiple forms. I'm very active on social media, which I usually say you shouldn't be, but conflicting on the same thing. I think I'm on the same space of social media, trying to change that world a little bit, training people on socio-emotional skills. That's one thing which has been actively happening. I've also started doing in-person workshops. So now we have that also, which has come out. But the rest of the plethora remains the same.
Oh, wow. I always kind of wonder, somebody who's always dealing with the world's emotions, how does one handle her own self is where the question is coming from, like you being what you're doing, dealing with people's emotions, all sorts.
Yeah.
Do you have a morning routine sorts? Like how do you start your day?
More than starting the day, I think for me, it's like putting it through the day as well. So every single day I have this good habit that I've built and I'm very happy about it, which is as soon as I get up from the bed, I make sure the first 5 minutes is for me to sit in silence with myself. I don't rush out of bed. That 5 minutes kind of tunes me in terms of what do I want to do. In that 5 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling, I might be doing a tracking, I might be doing metacognition, I might be doing a little meditation, I might be doing something, but I'm just with myself. I'm not doing anything else. And through the day, between one task to the other task, I make sure that I plug this in. So people usually think I should do this only in the morning and then my day gets fueled. But plugging it in throughout the day for 5 minutes so that you clean yourself up, your thoughts, you're cleansing it. You're saying, okay, I'm done with this schedule of talk, I'm going into something else. You clean up and then you go in there. Otherwise, you carry this emotion from one place to another. So
Can you pause and help us understand what do you mean by cleaning up, taking that pause? And you also used a word like tracking and metacognition. So,
okay. Done. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all of that. So, okay, now quick disclaimer before I start speaking about that part of the world is every time I speak about epistemic humility before I start saying anything. I think we recorded this in the previous podcast as well. So this is what epistemic humility means. We all know what humility is, right? It's about being humble. Epistemic humility is having the humbleness even in scientific facts. So although I will be presenting a lot of scientific findings, I will be talking to you about many scientific findings about different things, I'm also open to the fact that this can be questioned and challenged. I don't come with the arrogance of saying I know it all.
And this is it.
This is it. And no field of science can ever say that this is it. Because what neuroscience speaks and then what probably psychology speaks, what psychiatry speaks, what socio-emotional skills trainer will speak, unless we don't amalgamate and we open our channels to everything else, then there's no answer to this. So everything that I present, I speak about, I'll do my best to do my neurosynapses right in my head and I will present it with full humbleness. But yeah, there could be much better findings than what I have to present today.
Sure.
And one other thing is, for talking about epistemic humility, I like to give this Aesop's fable, which is 5 blind men go see an elephant and they try to understand what an elephant is. So they touch the body of the elephant and say this is all just the wall. Another person just touches the leg of the elephant and says this is a tree trunk. Another one touches something else. So by the end of it, is anybody wrong? Nobody is wrong. Is anybody right? Nobody is perfectly right. Unless you can see the entire elephant for what it is. So my hope is with this epistemic humility, why do I present it? Is I'll definitely do my best to show all angles. There could be angles that I'm not aware of. So I just want to have that humbleness before I tell you anything else about the tools that are there.
So glad to hear this tone coming out, because today in the world of social media, everything can be questioned and everything can come across a wrong way, if at all, if the disclaimer. Not just for the world, at least even for our own self, saying,
Very
we are also exploring and there is still a lot that is unknown.
Yes.
This is what has been figured so far.
And when we approach it from that perspective, I don't think we would ever have the arrogance of I know it all. Neither will I feel like I'm the only one who knows it all. So it'll also kind of ground the person who's speaking, and it also gives an opportunity for the learner to know, saying, I like this aspect, I can go deeper into this, or I can question this. And that's how I think scientific findings also come into place.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a discllaimer from my side.
Sure. So now what do we,
so you want
how do we understand epistemic humility, right?
Yeah.
So what does it mean?
So like I said, epistemic humility is just that, saying on a scientific finding too, I have the humbleness of this finding to be questioned. So that is what it means.
Now what is tracking and metacognition that you were talking about, that you do all these in the 5 minutes of the day before you get out of the bed?
Okay. So to begin with, if you look at, we all say emotions, right? We say that we get very emotional during the day. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of emotions that I'm running. I'm processing a lot of emotions. This is how we speak. Where do our emotions come from? Why do I even get emotional? If I'm getting emotional, it doesn't come out of thin air. Every emotion only comes up in us only if I'm thinking about I have a certain thought I'm processing. That thought is what corresponds to the emotion. A thought becomes an emotion, and emotions are usually just biochemical changes. I know that this emotion has come up inside of me when I sense it and feel it inside my body. So it's not just one directional. A thought became an emotion became a sensation. It doesn't just stop there. Through the nervous system, we again take back all the sensations and tell the brain, this is the sensation she's currently holding. She's smiling like this. Her orbicular oculi is getting a little compressed. That probably means that she's smiling. So let us give her a little extra serotonin to hold that smile on her face. So every message from my body goes back to the head.
Right.
So it's a bi-directional thing. If I really want to manage my emotions, either I have to do it with my thoughts or I have to do it with my sensations. Metacognition, in layman terms, like I know that a lot of engineers have these books called Java for Dummies, C# for Dummies. So the same way, if there is a tool in SEL or neuroscience where we talk about something for dummies, saying anybody who's just learning something about emotions, if they have to know, we speak about something called metacognition as a tool. Metacognition is just having the awareness of watching your thoughts. Thinking about your thoughts is metacognition.
Oh, wow.
So every day in the morning when we get up, the first practice that I was talking about is if I want to take control of my emotions, I watch my thoughts. So what do? I sit and watch my thoughts in a way where I watch them like passing clouds in front of me. Usually when we look up towards the sky, we think the clouds and the blue sky is all the same. It's not. The clouds are very different from the sky. So watching your thoughts, saying this is not my identity. Look, I'm thinking about this. These are passing clouds. A few of them are tiny little cutie ones. There are a few which look like it's completely covered the sky and I can't see anything else. It's a cloudy night. But still knowing and having an awareness, it's a thought. I'm the blue sky. I'm watching this and I'm the blue sky. I'm not the cloud. Usually what we do is when a thought comes, we will go jump onto the cloud, take a swim in the cloud and we go away with the cloud, right? So metacognition in general is about sitting for a few minutes with yourself, just watching your thoughts and trying to almost play hide and seek with it, saying I'm not going to get caught. I'm not coming and interacting with you as a thought. I'm watching you.
I'm not engaging with you, but I'm watching you.
Yes, that's metacognition. The more you build that ability during the day, if something is affecting you, you suddenly feel like, arey, this thought is affecting me. Or I'm at my work desk and I all of a sudden feel like, why am I thinking about home? Like, I don't know where is my work-life balance. Simple, basic crux of it. If you want to have a work-life balance, start with the basic of, what am I thinking? Where am I right now? If you can learn to detach from that thought, you've already mastered emotions. Because if you don't think about it, that emotion's not going to come up. So if something bad is happening at work, you don't want to process it at home, start with, what am I thinking? The brain has this fantastic habit of getting you addicted to thinking about the same thing. So you have to choose saying, I'm not coming into this play. I'm not going to participate in this. So metacognition is that, learning and building the ability to watch your thoughts. So you can choose depending on how you had a night. Did you have a dreamy night? Did you have a lot of dreams that you had? Or when you woke up, do you feel like there's too many things that's going to happen during that particular day? Then do metacognition in the first 5 minutes. So either with thoughts I have to manage, or the second tool that I mentioned was tracking. Tracking is tracking my body. If I have to control my emotions, either I have to do it here or I have to do it here. So the second part is similar to, I think, because you have a lot of Indian audience, this is very similar to what we do in Yoga Nidra. But Yoga Nidra is to relax different parts of the body. But here you don't relax different parts of the body. You try to focus on what is the sensations I'm feeling in every part of the body. I almost build my body literacy of saying, look, this is how resilience feels like inside of me. When I'm getting anxious, this is what happens to me. When panic is hitting me, this is how it is.
So which part of the body is it affecting? What organ is that emotion?
Do I have stiffness in my shoulders? Suddenly I can see I'm becoming stiffer in the shoulders. I suddenly can now understand there is blood rush that's happening. I see my hands have started to get sweaty. You need to understand, what does this emotion bring up to me?
Is there a template here?
There is a generic template, but it is not true that will remain the same for all of us, because we go through different learnings in life. I'll give you an example of why I say it's not generic. Probably for you, butterflies in the stomach might be happiness. For me, it might be anxiety. So it really depends on life experiences and what we've gone through. But we do have a generic format of saying sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system is what we speak about. I think probably during the course of our conversation we can discuss. But learning the ability of watching my own body. and saying, okay, what am I feeling when I'm feeling calm early in the morning? This is how my body feels like. If I know what is calm, the moment I switch, I'll know something has gone wrong. And that's a good moment to say rain check. Saying, I don't think I'm doing okay. I don't think I'll be able to speak properly because I know, I can sense it. A different emotion is now building inside of me. I can see panic is slowly starting to hit me. I can see that I'm going into sadness and a little bit of depression. Any of this that's happening to me, if it is happening, which basically means I'm not collected. I can't emotionally and logically think in that moment. So building that ability is the second tool that I mentioned.
Wow. So that's tracking. And now this is metacognition.
Yes.
So both is done with the eyes closed?
All practices, we usually say do it with the eyes closed. The reason that we say that is, I'm sure even in the Eastern science, any of the Eastern science stuff that we do, they always saying, close your eyes. Why do we do that? Is of the 5 sensory inputs for the humans, the one from which we collect the maximum amount of information is our eye. If you keep your eye open and if you do the tool, you might get distracted because it brings in a new thought. What is that green that I'm seeing? What is this white? Where is that? Is this looking okay? But when I close, I don't have that input coming in to come in between my practice. That's why any practice that we do, always people say, close your eyes, close your eyes. That's the reason why we need to close our eyes.
Wow.
So yeah.
A sub question to this, but during the day, there are a lot of situations, life situations, wherein you are opening your eyes and you're facing them.
Yeah.
So is there a way to find a thin balance, compartmentalizing, saying, okay, I am in control of my thoughts, wherein at times what I'm seeing is now taking control over my thoughts?
I can know that through the day, through the experiences that's happening. I can know that when I sense it in my body. I can see. I'm going through this experience. We are having a conversation, you and me together. Imagine I start doing this. I start shaking my leg right now. That's a sensation that now I'm giving. My body is trying to say, Krupalini, go into flight. This is not comfortable. You need to get into a flight response right now. It's the muscular system is getting energy saying there's excitement. There's a flight. Let's run. So if I can understand that this is not my normal, I usually don't do this. That's a cue. Unnecessarily meddling with things. That's a cue. I started sweating in between a conversation. That's a cue. I started shivering in between the conversation. That's a cue. My throat is choking up. I'm not saying anything. That's a cue. All of this means certain emotions are coming up. The more I can understand it from my body perspective, you have an opportunity in the conversation. Now, I know that I'm going through something tough in life. Like this is not one conversation, but I have to deal with it and I have to live with it. Maybe this is going to take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to get sorted out. But I have to hold myself through this 2 years. So I'm still alive and I'm healthy. What do? Is plug in that 5 minutes of metacognition. Of saying, okay, I know I went through this very tough, bad conversation with this individual. I know I got irritated. I know I went into panic, but this is not my identity. I have to learn to let this go. How do I learn to let this go? I finished that conversation right before you jump into probably going to cook. Whatever is the next thing that you're going to do, don't jump off into it. Take 5 minutes to just collect yourself. Sit down and do metacognition. There is this thought which is coming, that same conversation is coming. Play the hide and seek. Say, no, not now. Not now. For 5 minutes, no, I'm not engaging with it. The more you can train on that 5 minutes of saying, I'm not engaging with this, I'm not engaging with this, through days, you'll be able to say, I'm not going to carry this. I don't want it.
So you build a habit.
It becomes a habit, yes. So that's one of the best ways that we can balance between what is happening in life. Because today we live in this world where everything is changing. I might be getting the biggest rewards and awards, but personally I might be shattered and broken. I need to still be able to balance myself and carry myself gracefully in both parts of life. I can't bring the arrogance of success here, neither can I take the pain of this there. How do I balance? Is building tools like this. And I call them as emotional hygiene tools. Like how we get up in the morning and brush our teeth. I dramatically show this during our sessions, okay? So I'll show it to you. So let's say, for example, you're grieving or, you had a breakup in life. So, you wouldn't have slept the entire night. Or let's say you've you know that you're going to lose your job today. In spite of it, that day morning when you wake up with the tears in your face, you go stand in front of the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I'm crying. Like, why did this happen? You'll brush your teeth.
Yeah.
That's a physical hygiene. The same way, we have to learn to build emotional hygiene. If we don't do that, in the world that we live today, the amount of thoughts that we process, the kind of emotions that come with those thoughts is all very heavy.
And it's all becoming a baggage. You're just compounding it and then
you're building the plaque. So we need to learn to say, I'm going to clean it. I'm going to clean it. How often? How bad is your teeth? Like how doctor says 1 time, 2 times, 3 times after every meal. So depending on how your plaque quality is, depending on how your tooth quality is, you might have to do it. But at least once a day you'll do. The same way, build a habit for emotional hygiene. At least once a day, tell yourself saying, I'm going to try and do this. And the more we try to do it, the more you keep it clean and tidy for a longer duration of time.
Wow.
Not just for the truth, so we also need to do it for our brains.
Amazing. So it's a metaphor that you gave. Your teeth is now your mind. At the same time, physically also what you have to do. Like you gave an example for mental management. These are the tools. Tracking,
you can try
and,
tracking,
metacognition,
meditation. Again, when I say meditation, there's different schools of meditation which is available today. You can do whatever, but people get into this misconception thinking meditation, I'm not doing my meditation properly because my mind is wandering too much. I'm thinking about too many other things. During a meditation, all of us will have different thoughts. I think this is one of the things that all of us get scared of, and that's why we don't go to meditation and we say, I don't think I can ever do meditation right. No, we can all do meditation right. What does meditation mean is, can you get this naughty brat under your control? So a few of us do it as open-ended meditation, so open-minded meditation, OM meditation. Few of us, wherein you're just keeping yourself open to things. You're just watching your thoughts. Metacognition could be an example for that. The second one is focused meditation, wherein you focus. You're listening to somebody telling you, try to look at this, look at that. Guided meditations, correct. So you can do focused meditation or you can do open-minded meditation. Open-minded meditation, for those of us who have this naughty brat, I think it's a little difficult. Try starting off with focused meditation. Yeah. So focused meditation of any form, whatever that your spiritual practices teach, I think that also should be okay. So these are simple things that we can do at home.
Amazing. So you spoke about how physically you're letting go of a certain emotion. Crying is one emotion. Anger, you're shouting at somebody. Mentally, whether you're going to let go of it or not, physically at least you're letting the energy out.
Yeah.
So are there more templates, like I'm going to go through some of the emotions since we've already gotten into this path?
Yeah.
So if you can give us examples as to how to get out of these kind of emotions. One is, so when I'm happy, so how do I physically and emotionally get it out? Yeah.
Okay. If we look at it, I'll give you the basic of it to begin with, Rashmi. So you'll be able to classify and find answers yourself very quickly, because there are schools of study which go up to 256 different emotions that you and me go through. So for us to classify each one of them will be like a plethora. So
256?
Yeah. And a few schools will even go a little more further extent, where even for us to identify a sensation of it, it'll be very difficult. For few of us today, we can't even understand the difference between anxiety and panic, and forget about going into everything else. Like playfulness is a different thing, cheerfulness is a different thing. It becomes very difficult to understand.
I only had very simple ones, like I only thought happiness, all the big umbrellas.
Okay.
Happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, guilt, trust.
Done. We will
boredom, jealousy, envy, gratitude, shame. Okay.
Done. So we will process this. One of the easiest ways to understand this, and something that I always refer to even in my studies or whatever that I'm training people on, is to understand emotions from zones perspectives. So there is this fantastic research by Ellen Miller from a Trauma Research Institute at United States, where she says it might be very difficult for us to know saying what emotion am I processing, but it'll be very easy for me to identify which zone am I in. And this is something which is very helpful even for kids. It is helpful for adults, anybody, all of us can try. So she classifies a human being's state of mind in a given moment of time into 3 things. She says you will be in the high zone, the resilient zone, or the low zone. So like, let's say, for example, I had a rubber band in my hand right now and I was stretching a rubber band. Okay, imagine that I'm doing this. I'm stretching it. What would happen if I do that, Rashmi? If I do that?
I think the elasticity will increase.
Okay, but I do that.
It'll break.
Yeah. So the same way, all of us have a capacity to process emotions under control. Like a rubber band. Few of our rubber bands are here. One tiny thing is enough. We will snap. Few of our rubber bands have a good capacity. We have learned metacognition, tracking, all of this. So we've built capacity. We might be here. So till here you can play around, and then I might break here. Few of us will be here, and then I'll break here. That is learning to know, saying, hey, I'm in a resilient zone. What does a resilient zone mean? I'll not snap. I'll process all emotions under my control. So the list that you mentioned, all of those emotions, if you're processing it under your control, there is nothing wrong with it, because you and me are Homo sapiens. We will process all of those emotions. What we usually think is, an emotionally intelligent person will never get angry. No. You're a human being, you'll definitely get angry. But it depends on, will you snap in anger or will you hold that anger to process it, right? So, you might be in the resilient zone where you're processing all the emotions under your control. But imagine they're not under your control. You can go into the high zone or you can go into the low zone. High zone is everything that happens to the human mind in terms of a fight and flight response. Which is...
what is fight and flight?
Okay. An adaptation to what I've been speaking about. Imagine I told you this is how our brain looks like. Okay.
Right.
So put your thumb inside and then we hold it like this. This part of the hand that we have is what we have here, which is the survival brain. Okay. This is what carries information from my body to the brain and takes the information back to the different parts of the body. Nervous system, respiratory system, digestive system, everybody gets information from this. When we open our hands like this is our palm that we have. This one is the limbic system. Everything that you and me process emotionally. The emotional decision making, everything that is happening with a thought, when an emotional part happens, is this. This is my prefrontal cortex, which is my logical reasoning, my wisdom, my cognition, my education, everything is this. Now, when a person is collected, you are basically thinking like this. But let's say for a given moment, when you're resilient, you're like this. Let's say for some thought that came up in your mind or some situation that you're processing in your mind, and that has become, that you're processing, that thought suddenly feels like this is dangerous for me. That is it dangerous or no is basically analyzed by as tiny as my thumb in this entire hand that I have. There are two components in the brain, which is called the amygdala. There are two of them. Amygdala.
Two amygdalas.
Yeah, there are two. So amygdala basically now analyzes saying, hey, is Krupalini doing okay? Is Krupalini doing okay? Is Krupalini doing okay? If Krupalini is doing okay, it's collected. If Krupalini is not doing okay, it says, hey, I'm not going to give any more energy to the prefrontal cortex. Your cognition, your wisdom, your logic, you keep it there. So what does it mean? It doesn't flip. Basically, there's no blood flow which goes there.
So that is off.
That is off. Correct. That is off. Because that is off, now the brain now makes a decision. How should I handle the situation?
God, it's crazy. I'll tell you why I'm reacting a certain way. It's a very personal story.
Yeah.
I might tear up. I don't know. Last year, I had been to Philippines. I went for a scuba dive session. So I think that phase of my life, I was very anxious for, I don't know what reason, but I knew that I was very uncomfortable with water. As in, I love water, otherwise I swim and all of that. But with that thing already in my mind, somehow I went. It's a 40-minute session. After 25 minutes, I don't know what happened. I was looking up, I could see the sunlight thing coming onto the surface area of the water. My logical brain has switched off and I have taken the device, the mouthpiece, I have knocked it off. And I'm like 25 feet under the water and the guy who's basically holding me, he has two people, right? The scuba, the instructor has two guys he's handling and I'm frantically panicking, drinking a lot of water. I just want to go up.
Yeah.
So now I could connect to it because, firstly, the logical brain just went off. I don't know why it happened. And then it's just the emotional brain trying to put me in trouble. And then... And you see, that's a very good example. It's crazy how we behave as an emotional, when only the emotional part of the brain is functioning. Why does this happen? Like the minute I know, is Rashmi okay, is the question amygdala is asking. The minute it knows that I'm not okay, isn't it supposed to help me further so that the
Yes.
logical brain should be kicking in?
Hopefully, in evolution, we will actually get there. But today, we still have the mind of the hunter-gatherer. So imagine you and me are not here. We are hunter-gatherers. So for the brain, it's about, madam, your logic is not important right now. I have to keep you alive. I have to get you to survive through this. So even a psychological problem, a physiological problem, a physical problem for this is the same. It'll say, I have to get her to survive right now. She has to stay alive. Your logic right now is not important. Although logically we know a lot of things, right? Our evolutionary brain development has not been that good. So we still behave with the instincts of hunter-gatherer. So when this gets activated, when the risk center comes up, we say a person's lid is off. Not that the brain becomes tapak. It's just that there's no blood flow going enough into the prefrontal cortex. Everything that's happening is happening because of this. Now, I'm thinking emotionally. When this happens, it'll push me into a fight and flight depending on the situation. If it thinks, for example, let's say there is a lion sitting in front of me right now. Okay? If my brain believes I have the capacity to fight this lion, it'll give me the energy to fight it. If it thinks, no, Krupalini, you have to run away from it, it's panic, let's rush, you'll flight into it. Maybe something what happened with you as well. Or if it thinks saying, Krupalini, that lion and you don't even have the capacity, just keep quiet, don't do anything at all, it'll freeze me. It'll say, keep quiet, don't do anything. So few of us will just go numb when something happens. So I can go into fight, I can go into flight, I can go into freeze. Today, there's another thing that we do is fawning, wherein we people please. So I can do one of the four. Going back to what I was telling you about the resilient zone. So if I'm in the resilient zone, I have all of this under control. I'm working like this. If I'm not in the resilient zone, I've flipped. In that flip, if I'm doing fight and flight, it basically means I'm in the high zone. If I'm freezing, which means I'm in the low zone. Now, how the easiest way for all of us to understand in layman terms, okay? Let's understand which emotion comes up a little later. Maybe we'll first understand saying, how do I know what emotion is going to come up? If there is a lion in front of me right now, okay, and I've flipped, or I'll ask you, let's say there's a lion here, okay, you saw a lion here and your brain has told you you have the capacity to fight it or you can run away from it, Rashmi. Tell me changes in your body that you will see, Rashmi.
I think I can already feel that like fear or like there's something that is changing. Imagining a scenario where a lion is now going to be in front of me.
So what's the change that you see? Maybe a change in heartbeat?
I can feel a lot of energy here in the chest area.
Yeah, so there is change here. And imagine that you're going to run away from the lion. Yeah. What do you think you'll tighten up first? Yeah. Our muscles will all start getting tightened up. Our muscles will tighten up. Here also you'll feel it. Your breath rate will change. You'll suddenly feel like, I'm almost like I'm running. I'm already there in that breath rate, right? And you'll not feel like I want to eat food or anything. You just want to run from here. Like I don't want to think about anything else. And in that same moment, you'll have a lot of blood flow coming up. Your ears will become hot. Your cheeks will become hot. This is exactly what will happen with emotions too. So my brain is saying, Krupalini, there is a lion right now. Process this lion. So it's saying, Krupalini, run away from the lion. Or Krupalini, fight the lion. So when it is telling me, saying, fight the lion, flight the lion, it's giving me information to my body. It's tightening my muscles. It's relaxing my muscles. It's probably, holding my breath in a certain way. I'm doing thoracic breathing and not abdominal breathing. I'm having blood rush, which is coming up. All of this is fight and flight. And this is the same experience any of us will experience if I was in the high zone. High zone is all the set of emotions where you'll feel these sensations. Similar to
high zones, example, is it fear? Is it anger?
Yes.
So, I mean,
yes. Yeah. So this is anger. This is anxiousness. This is panic. This is maniac behavior. This is having pain in certain parts of the body and feeling emotion. And we say, I'm emotionally feeling the pain. I can feel it. It's very bad. All of this is one category, which is the high zone that you're feeling. Now, if I felt there is a lion in front of me and I was tightening up all of this and I'm behaving like this, my brain is telling this so that I can win that lion. That's the main reason. But many a times I might not be in front of a lion. I might be in front of my kid. I might be in front of a friend. I might be in front of my colleague. And it still is kicked in fight and flight. In moments like that, where you don't want to take this anger, you feel like this anger is like pushing me unnecessarily. It's unnecessarily going into anxiousness. This is too much of panic. You're flipped. So you can't logically talk to yourself saying, keep quiet, Krupalini, you don't do this. You'll not be able to listen. Why? Because there's not much energy.
There's no access only to the logical brain. So it's only the emotion which
Yeah.
is in the driver's seat.
Yeah. So the only way to talk to this is through this, which is from your body. So that's why we always say in Eastern science, I always love the way that we interpret. They say when you're angry, sit down. What happens is when you sit down and you focus on your buttocks being supported in that moment, it gives a message to my brain saying the lion is gone. She's sat down. She's relaxed the buttocks. And the moment it takes that information, the brain will say, keep quiet. Let's bring this back. There's no more lion chasing that we are doing. So we are done. The brain will not lose 1 ounce of energy unnecessarily. The moment you give that message, it'll come back. It takes 20 to 30 seconds.
Wow.
All that we need to do is plug in that 30 seconds and say, I'm getting,
down.
yeah.
And
Sit down.
drinking water also helps?
Drinking water also helps. I'll tell you about that a little later. But while you sit down, try and focus on your buttocks being supported on wherever that you're sitting. And the more you try and focus on it, you'll see almost your relaxation will start plugging in. You said, I could see that change in my heartbeat, right? Just try and focus on your buttocks for 30 seconds and see if that sensation changes, Rashmi. And keep relaxing your buttocks.
Yes. It's like everything's like settled down.
It feels like it's settling down. I was in the high zone. I'm coming into the resilient zone. Now, even if you're angry, you can speak with anger. But that anger is under your control. Why do I say it's under your control? You can logically and emotionally engage. You're not engaging like an emotional fool.
Right.
That's why many people say, you're so educated. Why the hell do you behave like this? Is this what your education is? People have this tendency of talking. Education is here.
Wow.
I have to connect it. So to bring this back, the easiest, simplest thing is get it from the body. So that is why it helps. And the second thing, drinking water also helps. What happens when I drink water? Don't gulp it. So people have this tendency of just gulping it. Take the water, sip it, breathe in, breathe out through the water, and then take it in. What happens is you're bringing your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system into regulation. So shall we drink water and show them?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So usually what we do is, we have the tendency of drinking water like this. That's not a good idea.
Okay.
So let's say you're emotional. So what I did is I was just gulping one after the other, one after the other. So what you do is,
So it's in my mouth till the time I inhale and exhale once and then I gulp
and
it.
then you gulp it. See if you can feel a change. Do it a couple of times.
Slowly, things are like slowing down.
Yes. Because what happens in fight and flight is it's rushing. Respiratory system faster. Muscular system faster. It's faster. You're trying to say, come down. I'm reducing the speed. If I can't control it with my thought, I have to control it from here. The moment I start breathing in and breathing out the way that we did right now, it gives a message back to here saying, you're okay. You're okay. And when that happens, this comes back. So, even when we go to first aid, like let's say we're in an emergency ward, even then doctors usually, unless, they're going to give you medications for an operation, it's very different. But otherwise they'll say, drink water, and then speak. Why are they trying to say that? Is to get oxygen into your body. So you don't panic.
True.
And the only way to manage this during panic is try to manage it from here. Because your logical brain is not even in your control. So yeah, that's one of the best ways that we can manage. I think we went all over the place. That's the hyper
amazing.
zone.
I mean, this is nice. I mean, you're talking about how fight and flight functions, how to bring it to control. Now, coming back to the power of resilience.
Yeah.
So now, I'm sure, including me and all my audience who are watching us right now, have gone through life situations wherein either they are in the extreme end, high or the lows. So this the resilience, that awareness to always be resilient. Are there any other tools like constantly that I have to keep in mind for
Yeah.
different emotions? Like for
Yeah.
example, all of this was for fear, anger, right? So are there any other
Yeah.
emotions?
So one is the plethora that we mentioned in the high zone. The other one, the other side, like I finished anxiousness, panic on a quick, this is like a quick master class we are doing. So anxiousness, panic, anger, all of that is one category, right? Now the other category, loneliness, sadness, feeling depressed, procrastinating, having a lot of fatigue in the body. This is the freeze response. This is like there is a lion here. So this is the same analogy, right? Let's say there is a lion here. Your brain says, you can't do anything. You always lose wars. As a tribal person, you know that you don't have the capacity. Your brain is telling you that. So what will you do? You'll go sit inside the cave. You'll be like, keep quiet, sit in the cave. You can't do anything else. And while you're sitting inside the cave, what will you want to do? Will it give you energy for muscular system? It won't. Will it give you energy for respiratory system? It won't. So all the time my body feels like it's falling down. There's no energy only in the body. I wake up in the morning feeling like I'm too tired. There's no energy in the muscular system. And whenever I'm breathing, I breathe like this. That's not a good breathing. That's a sigh. So I don't know how to hold the breath inside my body. I sigh. I don't put when I say the brain does not even put energy to the respiratory system to breathe with thoracic and abdominal breathing happening properly. So we just sigh.
Sorry, what is this thoracic and abdominal breathing? Because I'm sure the doubt is there, so that we can clear this and then go ahead.
Done. Okay. So thoracic breathing is when I'm breathing from here. This is anger, panic, agitation, which is here. Abdominal breathing is usually when we breathe in and breathe out. When I breathe in, I should be able to swell up my abdomen and then my chest and then drop it the same way.
The stomach is like a balloon now.
So when you do that properly, you basically are doing normal resilient breathing.
Sure.
But usually if I'm just doing this breath, which is, this is high zone. You fight and flight, right? When you're flighting, that's how you'll breathe. If you had a spear in your hand and you're going towards a lion. Freeze is this. I don't put energy to breathing also. So a lot of people have this tendency of, they keep yelling at their kids or their family and they'll say, don't you have the capacity to manage your own little things? And these people who are going in the hypo zone will feel like I don't have the capacity. For them, breathing only is very difficult. They'll be doing this sigh breathing, which is, I don't do anything with the chest. I just take the breath and I drop the breath. I take the breath, I drop the breath. So
Why
I'm just doing
happen?
it. Because the brain says, I'm not going to waste energy. You're sitting inside the cave. I don't know till when will you sit inside the cave. How much food will you have access to? So I'm not going to waste energy.
So it's already like in reserve.
Yeah.
So it carefully spends even a single drop.
And that is why weight loss also becomes very difficult for a person who's in hypoarousal. You might be doing exercises, not a gram drops. Why? Because the brain does not believe that you're out of threat.
The captain is not giving the command to the...
It is saying, no, hold on. We don't know till when. Hold on. Unless you believe that you can manage this, it does not give it an opportunity to drop the weight. So people will have a lot of weight issues also, Rashmi, when they're in the hypo zone. So muscles will not, you'll know that my muscles are unnecessarily feeling very heavy. I don't know, why am I feeling so heavy in my own muscles? So my body is, feeling very heavy. My respiratory system is like that. But I have this thing of saying, these are people, hypoarousal people. I call them as the real investors of Swiggy and Zomato. Because after the night dinner is over, these people will now say, I want to eat food. Oh. Let's order something. Let's eat something. Because the only thing that they have access to in that time is their digestive system. They have a lot of saliva production in their mouth. They feel like mouth watering. I want food. Hungry, hangry. So it's a correlation of that. Saying, give me food. If I have a lot of food, then I'll be safe. So till I get that Zomato order coming, I panic like, give me food. Then I'll feel like, this is so nice. This is so much better. So it is all an adaptation of you're doing something there or you're doing something here. Now in hypoarousal, these people tend to eat probably wrong choices of food. What choices of food? Anything which can retain as energy in the body. So you'll choose fat heavy food. So you'll want spicy biryanis, you'll want to have anything which is fried, or you're not a person with sweet tooth. After something hit you traumatically in life, all of a sudden you're eating a lot of sweets. Why? Because the body is telling, I want something to hold the energy. Why are you doing it? Evolutionary science perspective. You're sitting inside the cave. The brain is saying, eat as much as we can eat. We don't know when will we get food access again. So that's why we also do emotional eating. So that
eating.
Yeah, that could be one of the reasons. So you could be in the hypo zone. How do I bring myself back here? Like how we did grounding, which is focusing on a body part, and drinking water for the high zone. For the low zone, you're basically saying, I'm not feeling happy. So you're looking to feel good in life. So there are only 4 feel-good hormones. You go ask a biochemist, you ask a neuroscientist, they will dissect this in chemistry perspective. They will not talk about it from a perspective of, Ayo, is this happening? They'll not come from a psychologist perspective at all. The 4 feel-good hormones are serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphin. So anything that you have to do is to produce one of these 4. How do I produce one of these 4? If you have an opportunity to hug somebody, please go ahead and hug, because hugging, cuddling is oxytocin. Hey, I don't have anybody else for myself. Do a butterfly tap.
What's
Hugging
that?
yourself and tapping yourself like a butterfly tap. So doing that.
Like what
What I'm doing.
Right
Yeah. Just hug
Yes.
yourself and keep tapping. So in the moment when you're feeling lonely, just know that you're there for yourself. This is how we would have been cuddled when we were young babies. So trying to do this to yourself, not everyone has an opportunity to have a loved one. They will definitely come into our lives. Not that they're not there, but I have to be able to sustain this pain and come out of it, right? So oxytocin ke liye doing a butterfly tap is a very, very good thing that I can do for myself.
That's
If
a
you
love
have-
hormone, right?
That's a love hormone. That's a cuddle hormone.
Right.
If you have a pet, please get a pet into your life. So pets will all obviously give you that same moment of oxytocin. Hug your plants, hug life, walk barefoot. All of this will kind of help you. Now, oxytocin is one. The second part to this is dopamine. Dopamine is giving yourself targets for every day. Yeah, my life is pathetic, horrible. Everything is going wrong. I know. Nothing is under my control. Okay? Today morning, when I wake up, I give myself 5 things to work on. Please brush your teeth. I will probably take a shower today. Okay. With that, I will probably get out of my bedroom and go stand outside in the balcony for 5 minutes. Okay. So I made a list of 3 or 5 things. Give yourself targets of saying, I'm going to do this. Every time you complete it, come check it off. It tells the brain saying, hey, she's actually achieving something. You are freezing because you thought you're not an achiever. You're now training it saying, I can actually come out of the cave. I have the capacity. Look, I might peep out and see if there is a lion or not. There is not a lion. I think my brain will understand saying she has the capacity. So having dopamine releases in the body is very, very good. Go for walks, anything, whatever. Give yourself a target and start working on those targets.
So is this a reward hormone?
This is your reward hormone. Yes,
Okay.
correct. And then the third one is endorphin. Endorphin is basically what we feel, what we have a lot of release when we consistently are going through something which is tough physically. Like let's say I'm running a marathon. In between, I'll definitely feel very tired. And then my body kicks in saying, I'll have to support her. So through that pain, it releases endorphin of saying you have the capacity to pursue it and to complete it. Even during a sexual moment, like let's say when you're indulged in a sexual moment, in a physical act, even then you get an endorphin. Saying, even if you can't, you're going breathless, it feels like, okay, I'm going to give you a release of endorphin right now. So you'll have that extra support. So this is your third one. So what do? I can't do too many things, Krupalini. It's very difficult. Don't do too many things. Do small things. Every day you go for 10 minutes walk, do the 10 minutes walk only. Only difference is now tell yourself, I'm going to go to that block. I'm not going to stop at this block. Every day 10 minutes I stop here. I challenge myself in that 10 minutes to take that 100 extra steps, to go 100 meters further, to probably go to that block. And then I'll stop. What am I doing is I'm telling my body I'm willing to take up a challenge. And I don't give up. I'll go. The day it's raining, that's the day you have to go for a walk. When you say, I can't do it, when you go there and you do the walk, it tells the brain saying, oh my God, she has the capacity. It's building back. When you know there is a challenge, if you take over that challenge and you get better, your dopamine and your endorphin comes well. The fourth one is your serotonin, which is your happiness hormone. So if you might be saying there is no happiness at all in life, watch Friends. Watch Friends on Netflix instead of binge watching anything else. Watch Friends. Watch anything which basically gives you a moment of happiness. Why does that happen? Is you're processing that thought. Even when I said watch Friends, what am I trying to say is when you watch Joey doing certain things or Chandler doing certain things, you're thinking about what they're doing. When you think about it, a thought becomes an emotion. So then you have that corresponding happiness coming up. Even food choices. Serotonin is actually released in the gut. So even food choices, eating healthy food that makes you feel good, eating those kind of fruits, yes, having good, healthy food will definitely help you. So making these subtle changes is what takes you out of hypoarousal into your resilient zone. So when you go to a doctor today for either hyperarousal problems of high BP, high anxiousness, or you go to a doctor for saying, hey doc, look, I'm not able to feel happiness at all in life. In both the cases, they'll give you medications. With medications, they'll tell you, do this activity. You have to do this regularly. What do? Is we only pop medications. We don't do anything else. A person in hyperarousal should sit down and do meditation. They'll tell them, do meditation, go for yoga, do something else. It's very healthy for you. What we do is we'll only pop medications and we'll say, I'm addicted to medication.
Brain,
yeah. You have to produce it from the body. You have to say, look, I'm relaxing my muscles. That is for the high zone. For those of them in the low zone, please don't sit and do meditation because you're not meditating. You're just closing your eyes and doing permutations and combinations of death, of pain, of everything else in life. So they're not meditating. They can sit like that. They can freeze and they can sit. And people will think 2 hours you sat for meditation, you're so good. No, they are doing scenarios over scenarios in the head. Do everything which will accentuate a heartbeat. Do everything which will make you feel like I'm running. So you have to unfreeze and go into a little bit of sympathetic nervous system activation. So people in the low zone need support for that. People in the high zone need to relax. People in the low zone need to activate. So I can't do anything, Krupalini. It's very difficult. I'm crying. I'm going in a very bad moment. People say, no, go wash your face. You know what happens when we wash our face? Again, we go wash our face with just warm water. Take ice cold water and splash it on the face. So if I was sighing, I'll be like this. When I do that ice cold water, I go like, that's thoracic breathing. So you're picking it up. That's why cold water showers are very, very good for people in hypoarousal.
And
These
hence
are
the trend today. People are taking cold water showers, ice baths for recovery.
Yes.
And now also the bowl in which the ice cubes are kept.
Maybe.
Face dips.
Yes, I'm not sure. I haven't tried it, so I don't know. But yeah, scientifically, this is why it helps. This is why cold water showers really help. So having that cold water shower will help. For those of them in hypoarousal, your answer lies in physical activity. Those of them in hyperarousal, you have to learn to keep quiet. And that's when you come there. So you also come here.
Beautiful. So now one needs to see who needs to step up, who needs to step down.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Krupalini. It's like giving an index to our own body, giving an index to our own mind, and giving us the power to access it and try and control it as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So now amongst the many things that you suggested, I have certain doubts if I can ask. So when you were talking about the serotonin, you mentioned about Friends. This I'm going to connect it with the OTT era today, wherein it's such a big dump. Like right now as we speak, adolescence is what is trending. Like today, if you look at it, right, I'm like in analysis paralysis either ways because I don't know what to pick. And secondly, there's a FOMO saying, the world is watching adolescence. Okay, what am I missing out? I need to see.
Yeah.
And with all of this ecosystem today, my question is, we are feeding so much into our mind, and every series or everything that we are watching is also putting an emotion in our mind, which is again going to act on our body, and that can also be a seed which will grow and eventually make us do a certain things.
Very true.
So how should I choose? Because everything is crime thrillers, drama today, and all your sitcoms are like slowly shying away, right? So how do I pick?
Sure. I'll give a little bit of why of what I'm telling first, and then I'm sure once they understand the why, they will themselves understand of what should they pick. Let's say, for example, Rashmi, You and me, both of us, and whoever's watching us is just watching us. You and me are both now going to some place in Bangalore. Okay. And both of us at the same time, we come to the same traffic signal. Okay. You've parked your car on one side. I've parked my car on the other side. The countdown is for 30 seconds. I look up towards the sky and I say, oh my God, such a beautiful sky today. This is what I'm thinking in that 30 seconds. You, for some reason, had kept the window down and you can smell the garbage. And you're thinking about, oh, I think I need that freshener. The car freshener is not there here. I should have gotten it. I should have refilled it. This is what you're thinking. I'm looking at the sky and I'm completing it. The person who's watching us, will come and ask us, how was your experience of driving? Will you and me tell the same thing, Rashmi?
No.
Why would we say the different things?
Because what we are focusing on is different.
Yeah, that is live wiring. How our brain learns and interprets is through microscopic pieces of information that we pick up. I might be in the same place doing the same thing, but what did I pick up in that moment? What did you pick up in that moment is very different. So you are live wired differently. I am live wired differently.
So who decides? Who does this wiring for us?
The brain decides. So that is why everybody's thinking is very different. It's not necessarily just to do with what's happening in the moment. So this goes deeper into genetics. So it has to do with nurturing, it has to do with nature, it has to do with the 5 big traits, maybe for another discussion. But yeah, the brain makes a choice. So when I see this, I saw like maybe it gave me energy to look at it like that. It gave you energy to do it in a certain way. Both of us now respond to this very, very differently. This is what live wiring is. Right. Whatever is the thought that I put into my head, my brain will start learning that. And it'll start looking at life from that lens. Today, whatever that you are, I am, and this person who's watching us is understanding whatever I'm speaking or whatever you're speaking. We are all understanding this not because we were born with the ability to understand English. We learnt it. Through experiences, teachers, different people came and taught us. So every word that we are saying, we are all interpreting and we are understanding each other. Like how they understand this. The same way, if you feed yourself with wrong kind of thoughts, you feed yourself with thrillers, with gore stuff, you'll interpret the world like that. Whoever I am in the present is a reflection of my past. I don't know anything at all other than whatever my brain has learned, including my dreams. Dreams also don't come out of thin air. If I've seen a certain situation, if I've interpreted a certain situation, that is what comes. Nothing in the brain comes out of thin air. You have processed it in some form or the other. You watch gore stuff. You watch things which are giving you non-beneficial emotions. You're now in that state of mind. And you'll start looking at the world also through that, because that's how you've trained this puppy. So it's a choice. You want to be an anxious person. You want to see only these kind of things to get a dopamine because you feel like you are the one in that movie finding the solution. Because I know how adolescence is short. You almost feel like you are a part of that entire thing. And watching it, you will definitely feel that emotion.
And also another part of why the whole world is raving about it. One is, yes, what a teenager can do.
Yeah.
Secondly, all the episodes are like from the first till the end. It's all been done in one shot.
Yeah.
Technically, it is so sound. Yeah. And I think some of the episodes are like last take, 13th take. Like, I think technicality wise, I think that's why it's
very
making
true.
news.
Very true.
So you're saying with all of this, do I have the thin line to be drawn saying that, hey, look, this is entertainment, or this is something that I shouldn't get influenced by?
This is exactly like I gave you fast food or I gave you salad. Which one will you pick? You have conscious awareness. You'll choose what is right for you. You don't have awareness. You'll eat whatever you want. It's the same thing with thoughts too.
And same thing with what you consume.
Correct. Because consumption is my thought. So you want to get into it, you get into it. You don't want to get into it, don't get into it. But you have to have the awareness of saying, this is my age. This is who I am. If I want to get better, the only way is to train this. How do I train this to keep calmer? Not by feeding anxious thoughts. Not by watching things which make it more anxious. So yeah, it is what we consume is what makes us who we are. And I think they used to also say in the past, no, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. Because this is what you were consuming. Today, I think Netflix characters are our friends. And we are most attached to them. So yeah, true. And it's
Netflix
a choice.
Characters, influencers, everything on the digital world, yes. Your video games, characters, and then what used to be your fictional book characters now have.
I wouldn't say that technology is bad. I think
Absolutely.
people need to have the awareness of saying, who is it that I'm following? What am I consuming here? What does this, like, let's say I'm following an influencer. What does this leave me with? Do I feel like I'm craving for more? Do I feel like I'm getting more anxious watching it that I don't have it in my life? Or do I feel very sad watching it? Like I feel like I'm left behind. Why do you want to watch it? Why do you want to continue to have that kind of a thought? Always it's a choice. You want your fast food or you want to have your salad? It's a choice. You want to follow this kind of a person and dumbly eat whatever that they give you as information you want to consume it. The more you build awareness, knowing I'm watching this, I did my tracking. Look, my heart rate is now racing. Do I deserve this heart rate racing? I don't? Then don't do it. So tracking yourself. While I'm watching this, what's happening to me? Am I feeling hyper? Am I feeling hypo? That'll give you the cue of should you turn off the TV. So watch yourself. I think building that body literacy, your dictionary will help.
Right, absolutely. I have one question here. Like the person can be hypo, a person can be hyper. Why is that it's not a neutral thing for the whole humanity? Like
not that all of us are always in hyper, are always resilient, are always hypo. It's thought by thought processing. So for every thought, it tells me this is a corresponding emotion. This is how I feel about it. I build the capacity of resilience. There are a lot of people who had no capacity at all. They would snap here, but they've been practicing, doing really well, and they can hold themselves still here. There are a few more who can hold themselves still here. It's the practice. What is this practice? What thought am I currently processing?
How do I build resilience?
So the best way to build resilience is first start with awareness of saying, how do I react to all of these things? This is what is happening. And the tools that we've been speaking about till now. Always try to do perspective taking. I think that's one of the most important things that we always fall behind. You can take perspectives only if you're together. First, bring yourself back. Once you bring yourself back, then it becomes very easy to take perspectives. Perspective taking is like how we were having a discussion today morning and we were talking about failure of something. We can either choose to call it as failure of saying, oh my God, I actually lost it. Or I can saying there is an opportunity there and I can look at it a little differently and I can become better. But I'm able to think like that because I'm like this. I'm collected. If I don't collect myself, if I'm here, none of these logical words will even be accessible to us.
Only the emotional words only will come out and that will become your belief.
Correct. So you need to hold it together. So do it with the tool, bring it back together. Ask yourself, what's my learning from this? What can I do better about this? Is this something that I screwed up? Could I have actually done this better? Take that as a learning to step ahead. All of us will make mistakes. All of us will screw up something sometime. But how do I build that capacity of perspective taking is what will give you control over your own life. This is not toxic positivity. This is you giving yourself an ability of saying, can I look at it from a different perspective? Like including... if you look at it with, I'm just going a little off topic, but when we look at it with gratitude practice also, people think it's toxic positivity. It's not. It's me telling, hey, I can be hopeful. Even in that moment when something is going wrong, I'm telling myself, can I think about something else? Because I have to tell this amygdala, keep quiet. It's okay. It's not as scary as what it is. But when I do a gratitude practice, I'm trying to say, I think I have something which is supportive to me. So this will not scream so much. So it's important that I do my gratitude practice. What people do is they misunderstand it and they unnecessarily, for things which does not exist, they start saying gratitude for it. So I think that's a very different dimension of manifestation, what people do. But in reality, do it. In reality, at least I have I have a roof over my head. At least I have good health. I'm grateful that I have good health. I'm grateful that out of this toxic relationship, this beautiful life came out of it. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for this learning that I've got from it. The worst could have happened. I was protected through it. If I can look at it from a newer perspective, the thought itself has a newer dimension. The emotion which will come up will be different.
So always look for good in every situation.
Look for perspectives in every situation.
Like good perspectives, positive perspectives?
Not necessarily. Then we might go into we might live in a very different reality where we are not necessarily looking at the reality of what it is. We should be able to look at it with equanimity of saying, I can see both sides. I can see both sides. It's not just one side. I can see both. I'm driven to this side, but I can see that side. That gives you the ability of saying, most of my choices which come out of me will probably be false proof. Like, I know I might almost be right. It's not necessary it's right, but you will do the right thing for yourself and for others as well. But how do I do that is building that perspective of saying, it could be this also, but wait, why am I not seeing another dimension? We are in a rush, Rashmi. We just want to quickly process things. And in that quickness, it's fluke. At times it's right, at times it's wrong. But the ability, even for a boss or a leader, for a good mom and a bad mom, for a good person and a bad person, is just this. Do you have the capacity to stay quiet before you make that decision? Can you take that 30 seconds? Can you take a minute? Get yourself, collect yourself, do your grounding, come together, choose, think, is this right? Do you want to take more time? Take time and then make a choice. So you're operating from resilience. Otherwise, people think, I'm making choices and everything is going right, but it will be affecting your body too. You might be in hyper only, or you might be mostly operating from hypo, which is also not okay. The more you are resilient, the more it's better. The more you have the capacity of making the right choices for yourself and for everybody else who is a part of that conversation.
Wow. So with this understanding, there is the side doubt that I got, not to react, but to respond.
Yes.
With this, there is a catch-22, in terms of letting go. At times we find it very tough to let go of things. So, a lot of them would have gone through this.
Yeah.
So, how do we understand to move on peacefully and understand our emotions and still progress?
I'll tell you from the brain perspective for this. You can't tell your brain saying, stop smoking, let go, leave this, don't do that. You tell your brain to do that, it'll be like, okay, I'll stop. Then it'll pause for a moment. It'll ask you, what should I do? You don't tell it, it'll go back to its set pattern. So whatever we are letting go, it could be a habit, it could be a human being, it could be a bad relationship, it could be anything. Don't tell yourself saying, let it go. Ask yourself, what's the replacement for it? So let's say I don't want to sit and cry about it. Don't say don't cry about it. Tell yourself, what should you do in that moment? I want to go for a walk right now. I have this bad habit of smoking. Don't tell yourself don't smoke. Say, let's go have a chewing gum. You're giving an instruction to the brain to continue its work. It cannot go dead when you say don't do it. So it'll pause for a moment. All of us pause and then we don't know what to do. And then what does the brain do? It goes back to its set pattern. This is a pattern I know. I'll go back to it. So anything that we're talking about letting go, always look at it. Always. The ground rule of it is to let go, you have to do it only by replacing with what should I do instead. I'm not saying replace with another boyfriend because people have this tendency of having fallback relationships and that is also bad. Make a healthier choice. Make a choice of saying, I think I need to process this better. I need to probably talk to my therapist. I need more therapy sessions. Probably I need to engage myself with my friends a little more. So I schedule it. I tell myself, I'm keeping myself busy doing all of these things. And when you start giving yourself that schedule, your brain will operate on that schedule. You can't say stop. Say what else. So when you say what else, it'll go there. So that is the reason why many of them can't break a bad habit. The only way to break a bad habit or to let go of something which is affecting me is telling myself, saying, what should I do instead? And there is no human being today who can give you all the information from everywhere. A specialist in neuroscience will talk from neuroscience. I'll speak from SEL. Another person will speak from psychology, psychiatry. So you can go horizontal. Having horizontal gives you perspectives. Going deep down makes you the master of the trade. This course, we have been doing it in India for the last 1 year or so, and we have had around 9,000 participants come and learn. So yeah, that's what we do. This is an online course, so people can always look for me on social media. There will be a link which will be available and they can enroll for that. But what I've seen is when we speak about emotions, the more that we do it in person, it's much more better. Anger does not stand by itself. Anger comes because it's sitting on fear. Fear of what? You change this. No, I'm not looking. Now I have to put an effort. Or you no more respect me. You don't even understand. I want it like this. Put it back like that. It's the fear of losing control, which is my amygdala hijack. All the sustainable development goals can really be achieved if we get the sustainable development goal 4 in place. Educate the world. Educate the world on what is it that's going wrong. Educate the world on how to take control of things. And to do all of that, the root of it, the core of it is your social skills, your emotional skills, your capacity of resilience. How can you go through the ups and downs and have the capacity to go through it gracefully? And I think that's where it sits.
This episode was powered by Polar Bear, the Ice Cream Sundae Zone. All you mango fans, now that the Mango Mania seasonal special is on, wondering which outlet to go? They have 160 outlets to choose from. Turn the maps on and search for your nearest Polar Bear outlet.